Christian, how's it going, man? How are you doing?
Hello, man. Yeah, it's going great. Yeah,
Good,
just
good.
hanging out,
That's
taking it
awesome.
easy, doing lots of homework, but it's fun. It's not like it's treacherous kind of homework. It's
Yeah,
enjoyable. So, yeah,
it's what you like. It's jazz. So there you go. Well, most of it, right?
yeah, exactly. Like yeah, it can be a little tedious at times, but it always helps out your overall musicianship. So it's worth it.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's sweet. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, why don't we start? Why don't we start with that? With just what you're doing so far with school and studying jazz and how you got into that and where you can see yourself kind of going through that, or at least right now, where it looks like that element of your life is taking you.
Yeah, yeah. I do just want to start off by saying it's a pleasure to be on a ATBTBT.
Yeah. There
Although
you
I've
go.
never been at the base of a Baobab tree, I
There
feel
you
like
go.
I'm there in spirit.
You're there in
And I did some
spirit.
research. Did some research, and Baobab trees are sometimes referred to upside down trees because they seasonally migrate to Antarctica almost locust-like. And although seas are rough, Baobab trees are the salient threat to voyagers through the Drake Passage. Wikipedia. So,
There you go. There you go. Also referred to as the tree of life
yeah.
in a lot of cultures, and the origin story tends to be associated with that of like the kind of archetypal stories that seem to be occurrent in a lot of different cultures. So that's one of the reasons I chose it as the kind of storytelling motif. But I don't know. I like what you have to say about it better. The migrating to Antarctica. I hadn't heard that before. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, me neither. It was really surprising. Yeah, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's the
Yeah,
hidden
like
meaning.
yeah, and I like the idea for the name. It works. It's awesome. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Um, yeah, but sorry, what was the question? Just like with school and stuff.
That's okay. Yeah, my question was just how did you get into jazz and how is that like a part of your life? Like, obviously, it's such a big part of who you are as a person that I think it would be a shame not to talk about what exactly it is about jazz, that makes you so attracted to it and why you feel that it's something that you're studying in university, obviously, and you were really involved, as I was as well, with you in high school. So, what is it about jazz, and where do you think it's taking you? How'd you get into it? Those kind of basic
Oh,
starter questions.
yeah. Well, it actually went back to I've never really. It's just kind of something that like my parents aren't musicians or anything. Like my grandpa played trumpet, my mom played trombone just for a couple years in high school, but it's just something that I kind of gravitated towards. I guess it was never even like an intentional decision. It was just kind of like went into grade 8 and just started doing the jazz band there, and just always had a good time. And it was just
Mm-hmm.
kind of a hang, like it was kind of like an after school hang, and you just got to kind of sit around with all these people and just play music, and it was just something I really enjoyed because I never really had that in my life before, and it was
Mm-hmm.
just different, and I really enjoyed doing it. So I just kept doing that through grade 8 and grade 9 at my local school here in Cloverdale, and then grade 10 I actually is when I went to LFA or Langley Fine Arts, and I almost missed like the last day to get into the school because I don't know. I think it was something came up and there was like horrible traffic and we were running late to the interview or something. And it's
Oh
just
yeah.
yeah, like I hardly like a bunch of stuff happened that made it kind of seem like it wasn't gonna happen. And then I eventually went just to try it out, and I full on didn't think I was gonna get in because I thought like well it is like a pretty good school, and I was like wow like, like there's no way like it's just like yeah, I just didn't like I didn't have my hopes high when I was going for it.
You didn't have the kind of skill base that you felt like you were competent enough to get in. Was it that, or was it? Okay.
I'd say it was mostly that. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was
Cool.
just kind of like like I didn't know if I even wanted to switch schools, but then again, I wasn't even big on my school I was going to, and it's good to just have things change sometimes too, and just see how they go. And if they don't go well, you can usually go back.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just decided
That's
that
good advice. Yeah.
yeah, I just decided to go for it, and I the audition was super chill, super chill. It was with some of the greatest teachers I've ever had, Lanchberry and Goddard, and they were just there in the room. And remember Goddard put down this piece in 6/8, and I was just like, what's 6/8? Like, well, what is an odd time signature? I've only I might have No, I think I've only played 4/4 time up until then. It was just kind of mind blowing, and it kind
Yeah.
of opened a couple doors to what could be in just kind of the unexplored, because there's so much to learning anything, but especially like an art of some sort, and you kind of get over that initial small little hurdle, and you can just it's like you're standing on a highway in Saskatchewan, you just see the vastness and the urbanness, and it's weird, but it was kind of inspiring. So
Mm.
just kept going with it, and yeah, I played in the jazz band at Fine Arts, and that was just a great time. And I was lucky enough to have some great people at the right time and be in the right place, I guess, because Mr. Holmes, he's the main guy that kind of helped me get in. He's a sax player from Capilano, so he kind of got me into just the whole thing, and he just kind of gave me the breakdown of how it was and how it was going to be like and stuff. And we had a lot of
Mm.
good chats,
Mm.
a lot of good kind of yeah, he was kind of I don't want like yeah, I'd say like
A mentorship kind of thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it
Cool.
was just yeah, it was a good time, and the biggest thing that I think about music that I've always loved the most is like it's it's just a good time. Like it's there's no pressure, there's no ego, there's no you're just getting up there and you're just playing and you're making real sound in real time, and you're just yeah, just playing, and whatever you play on your instrument is just a reflection of kind of you, and it's like speaking your own language that you kind of
Mm.
came up with. Like well, like you didn't completely come up with it, like took bits and pieces from different places, but the
Especially in jazz, right? It being such a creative. I mean, all music's creative, but it's a very creative medium in that you're kind of making up your own language as you go a lot of times, right?
yeah, yeah, and well, I, yeah and no, kind of, because like all the language you play are kind of ideas from past people, because like almost like everything,
Yeah. Everything's been done,
yeah,
but it's novel. It's like new combinations of old ideas.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a great way of putting it. Like you get like even if you study, like I've heard one of the new one of the guys, the old timers, I forget his name, but he said that uh, everyone, like the problem with the players today is that everyone sounds the same. I think because
Okay.
I don't know, it's like it's hard. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because you can put a lot of pressure on, or a lot of mental activity on just being original, coming up with something new. But then
Hmm.
again, almost everything that's been done in the past has been, like it's hard. It's almost hard to do stuff better than what's been done. But there's also so many new possibilities that
Yeah.
it is possible. It just takes, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to conceptualize.
I think kind of what you're trying to say, maybe, and correct me if I go a little bit away from it at any point, is that um, the ideas are um, they're so varied and so complex, but so many people have tried and kind of created their own dialects within this language that is jazz, or the larger language that is music, that it feels like you can't really approach it with a completely creative dialect that isn't at least heavily influenced by one or more of these kind of giants of jazz, if you will.
Yeah,
Um,
man, that's spot on. That's
yeah, but
yeah,
even within our kind of generation too, the cool thing, and I'm sure I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but from what I can see is that even though that is the case on one hand, on the other hand, it seems that we're realizing just how infinite the possibilities are and how many combinations there can be, and the fact that there's all these new genres that are always happening, even after generations of flooding the market with different ideas. Do you feel that for yourself that plays a big role, or is it mostly that you feel it's hard to be creative because there's so many of these giants that you look up to and you feel like you can't match that?
oh, yeah, like most definitely about what you were saying with there being endless possibilities, and that we're always finding new approaches of things, and just new ways to ways to get your point across, to get your voice heard, and
Mm.
it's yeah, it's hard to do and hard to make it coherent, like because it's just like you're speaking English kind of, or like any language. It's like any other language. Like you just learn little bits and pieces, and you take little things until you can speak coherently, and then you slowly but surely add little bigger words into your vocabulary and incorporate them slowly but surely. And you might forget it the first couple times, but you keep saying it, a couple times a day, and then it just becomes inherent to your everyday vocabulary. And and then like speaking in metaphors and similes, or no, well, I'd say more metaphors and not similes, but speaking like
Literary language.
yeah, like kind of like cliches and stuff like that. Like that's just another level of mastering that language, and that can also be directly applied to music. And learning
Mm.
musical language is like implying something that's not there, whether it's like harmonically or rhythmically, and you
Yeah.
feel those inspirations kind of. And,
And
yeah.
for like non-musical people who might be listening to this, it really is a language, like to the extent of almost, if not actually being as much of a language as a real language, in that you need to understand all these elements, like the the temporal elements like rhythm, as well as the melodic elements like pitch. And I mean, that's a basic level you kind of have to understand. And then you need to understand the next level of like what we were talking about earlier with 4/4 versus 6/4. Those are just
Hmm.
different types of time, different types of subdividing the space in which you play. And it's like, without understanding those concepts, obviously some of this might seem a little bit heavy, but we have Google, so anyone who is interested that doesn't know a lot about music, like feel free to Google anything you didn't understand. But just thought just thought that might be worth adding. Okay,
Yeah, man. Yeah, because
sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah, I was just gonna say that like just in terms of like that rhythmic stuff you're kind of touching on is I'm doing in my band right now at Capilano. We're being taught by Kofi. He's a traditional Ghana
Okay.
music artist, and it's just absolutely mind blowing stuff. Just
Wow.
some of the coolest stuff I like musically I've ever heard. It's just he's coming over and sharing these traditional rhythms with us, and it's a pleasure to be part of. And it's just like it's because we think about every place in the world has a different concept of music, and you put certain
Mm.
things over other things because like here it's often sight reading and it's very technically based, and over in like Ghana and West Africa, they do like it's kind of rhythmic central and lots of varying rhythms, and they don't
Mm.
write most of their music. It's mostly told like word of mouth kind of thing, and you just kind of it's more like here we'll just have all the music laid out written down in front of us, and we'll kind of all play together. But in like and this isn't only like this is many parts of the world is I don't know about most of the world, but it might be where like it's mostly just based off listening, based off. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting the different um, perceptions of music in the different parts of the world because like pretty much every country has their own original take on just learning.
Mm. That's really interesting. Have you found through studying music in a formal setting that it's changed how you think about different elements of music and different cultural focuses, like how some cultures or some places focus on a certain element of music versus another place? And obviously, wherever you're from, you're going to be kind of biased towards that kind of music, or the music that you've grown up learning, the language, the part of the language that you've learned. Have you found that formally studying it has helped you to learn lessons about that you wouldn't have expected about different parts of the world and different kinds of music? And if so, what are some of those lessons that you've learned?
Yeah, like I think I've really found studying music in a formal setting to be really helpful, and just because it's really nice to have that guidance. And like I've heard people say like oh, like, yeah, like it's like you don't need music school to learn music, and that's totally true, like 100%. But I really find personally that it's really helpful to have people kind of by my side saying when, hey man, maybe that's not, maybe you shouldn't be doing that here. Like my teacher the other day said I was articulating way too much when I was playing, so that's just, something to be. It's nice to have those conscious reminders, and yeah, and it really gives, like, especially I love how they bring in people from, different parts of the world. Oftentimes it'll be cities in the USA too, just musicians from all over and different backgrounds, and they'll come and they'll share their experiences, and not so much now because COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really cool because there was this workshop from this one great female sax player, Christine Jensen. She's amazing, and she did a workshop, and that was just mind blowing. It was her just sharing her knowledge and her idea, and it's just really like it all stems from a kind of nuts and bolts idea, like just understanding the base of everything. It's
Wow, that's cool. Like the functionality of each element of the music that you're playing.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's just there's so many, and it's even hard to like talk about music, just kind of broad, like just trying to start a sentence and finish it about it because it's just it really is just so conceptual and just so. But then again, it is really theory based when ratios, and that's why things kind of sound good. That all started with Pythagoras with his measurement of the musical intervals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is all. It is mathematical, but it's interesting because it's kind of a fork in the road between like math and emotion. It really kind of, or logic and emotion, I guess, would be better.
Yeah. I mean, music was seen as like music and physical sciences were seen as the sciences for a while in certain places of the world, most like the westernized parts of the world. And then later it almost became where music was pushed to the art side of being less scientific. But I think it's such an interesting medium because it really does have both the like a very formal like need in a lot of ways, but yet it seems like, and I want to get you to elaborate a little bit on what you think about this, and this is maybe partly just my intuitive perspective on this, maybe not an objective fact or anything, but it seems like music is almost a very like universalized language that helps us to understand that between different cultures, there's a lot more similarities than there are differences a lot of times. And just seeing that even if someone knows nothing about the formal side of music, the practical side of hearing it and feeling it and being there, it's so real, so visceral, and so human that it seems like everyone can relate to it on some level, and that it's a very good commonality between people to recognize that we have a lot in common. I wonder if you've seen the same thing, or if you've been able to have any experiences like that where you realized that someone from a different culture was really not that different from you due to your connection over music.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really well put. Yeah, like music's the one kind of thing. It really does bring people together, and you can hear like music from like a culture completely different, and there's still so many things that are just so attractive just because the kind of the math behind it just makes it really. Yeah, and yeah, I think it's great how it's the one it like so many things separate, but music is the one. I think the salient thing that really, like, yeah, it's kind of hard to put into words, but it's I would really agree with you on that one that yeah, music from all cultures really brings people closer together, and I think that it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and both of us, even just through our mutual fine arts experience, I think got the opportunity of experiencing that and hearing people from a lot of different places with a lot of different stories, a lot of different backgrounds, who seemingly didn't have much in common, but at the end of the day, it's like, wow, there's so much in common. There's so much this music thing is helping me to see. Um, yeah, really interesting. Before I ask my next question, like I see the drum kit in the back. Are you picking up some drums and learning to play a little bit?
Um, well, actually, in around grade, yeah, I'd say grade 11, I got a drum kit for grade 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've just been I
Picking
haven't
away at it.
actually. Yeah, I haven't been playing too much at the moment, just because I'm not studying, or there's I've kind of been slacking a little bit recently, but
You're doing all your
yeah,
sax stuff, right? You're focusing
yeah,
on that.
yeah. I remember I tried to play the intro to Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin for about like a couple months, and I just couldn't get it down because it's
It's a
that
tricky
drum line is
intro.
pretty crazy. Yeah, it's the accents are in pretty weird places, I guess, and
Takes a lot of coordination.
yeah, exactly. And Tom Sawyer, that's a hard song to play. It's just
Mm.
yeah, one thing I've always found difficult is getting the flick of your fingers at the back, kind of to because that's how you like get like the stick to move really quickly, because you can't just want to.
Yeah, for like the double time stuff, you can't. Yeah, you can't hit it. Just
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
otherwise you'll
I've
get
always,
like cramps and stuff.
yeah, exactly. And it's just not as fluid. It's like when you're playing piano, you want to have like nice long fluid fingers. Like you don't want to be like a spider kind of thing, right? So
Mm.
it's
Hmm.
all about, and like same with the sax. Like you don't want to have your fingers buckling when you press down on the keys. You want to just have them like you're holding a cup of water kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting, the side of technique that's just all about just kind of relaxing and just yeah, it's like less is more most of the time, I think.
Mm. Maybe good advice in other areas as well. Okay, so let's talk about fine arts then, because you talked a little bit about how you got there,
Yeah.
how that worked with you almost not making it um, into the school, or thinking that you wouldn't make it in. I'm sure you did great on your audition. um, but
I was
while we were,
actually thinking about right.
sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
No, you go
Okay, no,
ahead.
I was just gonna say I was actually like I was gonna switch into writing. That was the whole idea behind me applying, because I like, even at the time I was not huge into
Really?
music. Oh yeah, I was like, oh, the writing program sounds sweet and it sounds super chill, but it was for grades 11, 12, so I couldn't directly apply to it in grade 10. But yeah, I ended up just falling in love with the music course, and yeah, just wanted to stay with
Wow. How? Okay, we gotta expand a little bit on that.
that.
Like, what exactly? How? Why were you interested in writing, and what were some of the things that caused you to change your interest into music?
I don't know. I just always it's always like it. Just always like stories. Bringing back to the title of the video, but
Yeah.
just I've always been kind of fascinated with how some people can seemingly like start and end a story, and it's like you can really just see it in your head, and it's like you're watching something almost. And
Mm.
I've just always kind of liked that aspect of it. And I remember when I was, I guess it all kind of started in elementary school, because I got like it was sweet. Like I think it was every second Tuesday for half the day, I'd go out to this other school for like this program, and it would just be a bunch
Mm.
of kids that would be in like this just like 10, and we just all just learned about writing from this like writing prof kind of thing. And I thought it was the coolest thing, because it kind of also opened my eyes to, oh, wait a second, so I really want to be doing this and having so much fun doing it and learning stuff. Like, and I go back to school and just do math, science, just these things that I'm not really interested in. That
Mm.
yeah, but it was just kind of like, oh, like I liked having that freedom of just like it felt like there should be more. Like it felt like there should be constant tests and quizzes kind of thing. But no, it was just like a chill setting. You just got to talk and just have a good time. And yeah, that's a big thing. Like it's like thing about like writing and music that I've always liked is that they're just like there's not any pressure to like it's just you're just kind of doing it out of your love for it, kind of, and you just want to kind of share it with other people, and hear their side and
Mm.
relate the two together. And yeah, so I guess that was kind of the thinking behind it. But I
Except for in Whiplash.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of pressure there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting because it seems to me that there is a lot of commonality in the story element between writing and music. Have you found that in music that it's a storytelling medium?
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's called the libretto or the librettist, and that's like the script for us, like a musical kind of thing. Like it's the and it's interesting how many like operas that have storylines theatrically, and it's
Mm.
really it's kind of often interweaved between music and writing and stage play, and it
Mm.
all just kind of
Interconnected.
yeah, interconnected, and um, yeah, it's they're so similar and just it's yeah, it's neat.
Yeah, I bet, especially being at TAP, which really has um, a really good reputation for both its jazz and its musical theater or acting programs, that you would be able to kind of see some of the connections between that too, as well.
Yeah, it's huge, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think the programs are quite different, but the main ideas behind them and the part what like the big concepts I think are really similar for sure.
Mm-hmm. Dang. Well, that's really interesting. Okay, let's hop back onto that earlier train of thought that I was um, trying to uh, whatever make happen about when after you got into fine arts and what happened with um, a few of the music trips that we went on. I just want to talk about some of the stories that happened on those trips because obviously we've talked a lot about how story in music relates to story in a lot of other things. So I was wondering if you have any particular stories that come to mind, um, either specifically about music or that just happened during those music trips. Which, for people who don't know, we had usually one trip a year where all of the people would go to a festival to do music during high school, and all sorts of random stuff would happen among our friend group, at least, while we were there. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, one story that just really kind of stands out is you remember I just like that one time I just like fainted in that room in Banff when we were all singing.
oh yeah,
Um, Man, that was just weird. It was like a super hot room. It was like the hot. It was
you
like
just like fell straight off of the thing.
it was bizarre. It's like it felt like the sun's been coming in all day. If like it could have been four heaters either side of the room, and it was just like yeah, like 275 Fahrenheit. No, no, not quite, but it was pretty hot.
It was not that hot. You were the only person that fainted.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. Um,
Well, remind me, which was this during the practice or the performance?
Practice. Yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah. I
man.
still sang in the performance, but
There
it
you
took
go.
a while to recollect myself because it was just bizarre. Like I was just standing singing the song, and all of a sudden it's just yeah, it was like just like it just went black for like a quick second, and I was just like, whoa. It was just I think it was a bit of heat exhaustion. It was maybe I don't know if the altitude change had something to do with it, but it was a long bus ride, and yeah, it
Wow.
was just but then I was fine after. I just had to sit down and get some water, and just felt a little shaken, but yeah, it was all good. Everyone was super supportive, which was nice, and
Did someone catch you?
I think
Because I don't remember you hitting the ground. That would have been a big thing if you did.
no, yeah, true, no, it was pretty graceful, I think.
It's pretty graceful, yeah. We were probably singing like Graceland or something while we were there. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we were,
pretty funny. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
and
Yeah, that was a good trip. The one to Banff.
yeah,
Was
long
that the
bus.
one? Was that the one where I went into like the shopping cart thing as well?
No, that was on Salt Spring.
That was on Salt Spring.
Yeah,
That's
that was
terrible.
probably
Do you
that
want
was
do you want do you want to tell that story a little bit? Because I remember you had a particularly you were telling me like not to do it, and you're kind of mad that I was trying to do it. So
well, that night was really interesting actually. pretty insane night just because yeah, we were all just walking to the grocery store. I think it was like half an hour away, or no, it was only like 20 minutes away, but it was still like a fair walk, I guess.
Mm-hmm,
So we were
mm-hmm.
just walking up the hill, and then rumor kind of drops down that you're just going to be ripping down in a shopping cart. And this,
Which we found on the side of the street, by the way. I didn't just steal it or anything like that. I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, so just trickled down the line. It's like, hey guys, yeah, Ben's gonna be ripping down the hill in a shopping cart. And like, I just, just my intuitive feeling was just like that's not gonna end well, like, because like at the bottom of the hill, kind of evened out.
And it kind of went around the corner, if I remember correctly, too, right? It was like dark.
Right around the corner.
Oh man.
And there was also like another road that was connected to that area, so someone could be turning right, and they just you turn right out shopping cart. There are multiple ways that it could end pretty badly. So
and very few of them had a positive outcome.
Yeah. But yeah, and then thankfully the shot I don't think you were going too fast. I think you were just kind of like hopping in and going like 5K and then kind of going down for like 10, 20 seconds and hopping back out kind of thing.
I think what happened was I went down the hill and I was in the cart going down. And then just before the corner, like I saw like that there was no way to turn the cart. So I was just going to go like straight off the edge. And so I jumped out of the cart and then just kind of went into the corner. Okay. Which I probably should have thought of the physics of that before I went. Like, I guess if the thing turned like that, I could have gone down, but it was just like straight and then around the corner. So
yeah, true. Yeah. I do remember being a little anticlimactic.
Oh yeah, it was probably anticlimactic.
There's a lot of build up to it though. I was like, damn, like I was like, what's gonna happen? Is he just gonna come down going like 30 kilometers an hour? And like it was just it was. But also, what's funny about that night is Marat full on convinced me that there were aliens watching us in the sky, which it's plausible at all times, but that night in particular, because there was this it was like a moving green spaceship that was just going around, and he was like, bro, look at the spaceship, and it would just disappear. Then we come back, and yeah, and it was like glimmering this weird, I don't know if it was green, but it was glimmering this like super, like it looks like it was like Morse code almost, like it was like kind of shimmering and moving around and doing weird stuff and disappearing and coming back. And it seems like a lot of people have these little extraterrestrial experiences though, like, I mean.
Yeah, not in my experience, but maybe in yours.
I don't know, it was a long day that day, but...
It was, yeah. And how many times since then have you been convinced of alien life in like a foreseeable, like a visual setting? Yeah,
well, I was walking through this forest and this like 30-foot alien just came up, and then and then I woke up. Never. But,
there you go.
Yeah, like it seems like it's the plausible explanation because like.
Okay, we got to talk about your thoughts on aliens, though.
Okay.
So, like, what are your thoughts on aliens? You think there are aliens, or you don't?
For sure.
You think they're for sure aliens?
Because.
Like, now, are you like Elon Musk, where you're just like, I don't care about it, but there are definitely aliens? Or are you kind of like Joe Rogan, where you're all like they're gonna come like right now or something?
Well, yeah, I'm more in the mindset like we're gonna find it. No. No, I'm kind of in between actually. Like I think that we shouldn't stress over it or get too worked up on it. But if it happens, it happens, and you just got to be ready. Have your bomb shelter prepared. All the common sense measures you take.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, have the turret. Yeah, but I think there are aliens because if the universe only had human life in it, it'd be kind of a failure. Because like how big it is, how like if we're right that it's always expanding and how vast it actually is, if that's true, and we're the only actual, like intelligent species, I guess you could say, or that it's hospitable for life, then I don't know. It just kind of seems like really like there couldn't be like some other blue 18-foot 4-legged mammal or 5-legged. Like it just seems like there should be some other stuff out there. Like even if it's not on our scale, Like there are other planets that like there's this one planet I forget what it's called, but it full on has an atmosphere because it's cool enough to maintain it, and like there are like, it almost seems like it's on like a scale on like how or a spectrum on how well it could hold life. Like the
Mm.
sun would be at the very bottom. Well, I guess it's a star. So I guess like Mercury and Pluto, those might be near the bottom, and then at the top it
Okay.
would be like Earth is like literally a perfect storm because we're just far enough.
In the Goldilocks zone, as
Yeah,
some
yeah,
people refer to it. Yeah.
yeah. So, but there has to be like, if the universe is as big as it is, then I would assume that there's more of those Goldilocks like planets.
Mm. Well, one thing Carl Sagan said in his seminal work Cosmos is that um, he did kind of a mathematical equation to derive the probability, or like, you know, where how many alien life planets you would expect there to be.
Yeah.
And he does a few things which I think are really interesting. And the biggest variable that makes the most interesting change is just the time frame, because he said, like, based off of how big we know the universe to be and how long it's been around and all this stuff, we would expect that within the universe's lifetime there would be at least like a few million places, like actually I think it was like a billion places where life could be, and at least a few million where it is or it should be. But then he said, if you factor the time frames and, like, you know, how a star that's really far away, the light we're seeing is millions of years old. So it's like at this exact time right now, if you think about it from the time frame, there might be as few as only 10 or one place where there's actually life right now that's equal to like human level. So I just thought that was kind of an interesting point to bring up on
Yeah,
tangent to what you said.
yeah. I just yeah, it's a really interesting way of putting it. Like, just there's so many times different wherever you are.
Mm-hmm. As we know from
So
Christopher Nolan.
there's the thing, like, yeah. Sorry.
I just said, as we know from
Oh,
Christopher Nolan.
Memento. Is that a
Yeah.
Memento reference?
Well,
Nice.
I was thinking more so like Interstellar, but yeah, from like
Okay,
he's
okay.
always
I
time.
actually haven't seen Interstellar. I've only seen that
Oh,
one scene where it's like those aren't mountains, they're waves.
yeah.
That was a good scene.
Well, that's the only scene worth watching. So,
Okay.
no, I'm totally kidding. It's a
That's
great movie.
basically Interstellar. That
Yeah.
scene itself is better than Interstellar.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, let's move away from the aliens and onto something like less abstract, shall we say?
Sure.
Okay, so you mentioned that first couple stories. Do you have any other stories that you want to mention as well from maybe some of the other music trips that we went on?
Mm, oh well, um, yeah, you were there, weren't you, at that party that we had in me and Luca's room? Were you there for that? It was
I think so.
okay. I remember, yeah, because that's after we got back from the grocery store. After that, the
Same day.
grocery cart. Um, after that, yeah,
This was an
yeah,
interesting day for sure.
yeah, it was. So we came back, and I remember, I swear, like every person has to have this experience. Like, you're walking through the grocery store and you see 0.5 alcohol percentage root beer, and you're like, what? Like that's liquor. But you're like, how are you selling it in the middle of the grocery store? Because I don't think anyone's like, if people are listening in the USA, yeah, you or in Europe or anywhere around the world, pretty much except a few places, you can't in Canada you can't buy liquor from grocery stores except if it's wine. I think you can buy wine.
Okay.
So, anyways, I was like, how is this possible? And you know, like obviously it's in a grocery store, so you need the age. And then I actually realized, like, oh, it's there's actually no alcohol. That, like, they're just basically saying it's 0.5 just to get like those like kind of 13-year-old kids. They're like, bro, let's like get a bunch of these, and it's just no, like it's just actual beer. Like, it's like getting, it's the equivalent of getting a kombucha or something, or yeah, it's
Like, you learned about fermentation and you're like, oh.
yeah.
Yeah. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No. Yeah. So, anyways, we got some of those root beers, And also, oh, they were made by Caribou. That's the thing. Like they were literally made by like a beer company. So I was just like, oh, it
Okay.
was just weird. But and then we got a bunch of chips. We got a bunch of I think Coke. Well, like the drink. We just
No,
got a bunch
I
of
think we had Coke too that day.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah, they had that at the grocery store too.
Yeah, that's big on music trips, of course.
Yeah, that's why we took the cart. No.
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Obviously a joke.
uh, yeah, it was just and then yeah, it was awesome. We just had some music going, and we were all just like, that was a really nice hotel too. I really like that hotel, the one in Salt Spring, because you had like a nice view of the water right outside your window on the patio, and aside from the alien spaceship, and it was really quite relaxing. So
Yeah, the alien stuff was less relaxing, but it was other than that, it was nice.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know us or like I guess who we were back then, you can be most assured that we were trying to like be like 50-year-old extremely successful people. Like that was the vibe we were trying to go for. It's like sitting at like our apartment, like drinking like whatever the equivalent, like as close as like Christian said, like the 0.5% alcohol, and we were just trying. Yeah, we were just trying to be like, sitting outside and having like civil discourse or something like that about like some like kind of auteur topics or whatever. That was the approach.
yeah,
Exactly.
grapes and yeah, yeah.
It's amazing fun if anyone hasn't tried that. Would recommend for sure.
Especially if a patio's involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like you really can't beat patios, especially in summer weather. You just get out
Yeah.
there, throw on some tunes, and get some chips and salsa going, and it's it's just a good time.
Yeah, trying to be someone that you're not, and it's like an acting kind of out of body experience. Really cool. Yeah. Wait, wasn't that place also the place where like someone got like that big suite, like the like honeymoon suite or whatever that was like 30 times as big as everyone else's suite?
Totally, yeah. Was it Manny? It wasn't Manuel. It was I completely forget who. Oh, I think it might have been Bennett or something. It's
I don't remember it was.
someone. It was just crazy. Like I remember I went into there and it was like literally like, man, I don't know how many square feet or anything, but it was like
Yeah.
full on, just like I don't
It's
know,
like-
like 8 rooms just
I
on.
know.
And there was like a master bedroom that was huge with a walk-in closet. And there was
Yeah. We walked in and it's like, are we at like the Ritz or something? It's like, this is the whatever they do, or it's like named after someone. It's like, this is the Carlton Suite or something, and it's like, oh, yeah, really? Like, interesting. That was kind of the vibe.
like it was like the Four Seasons, but like it like the Queen Suite,
Yeah.
like a Buckingham Palace or something. It's just like wow. Like I felt like automatically, I felt like I became like that successful 50-year-old guy.
Yeah.
Like it was like that kind of the whole hotel experience was that vibe. That's why I was so sick. It was just a really good time. And that was probably
Yeah.
the highlight of that trip. And that trip was probably the highlight of my high school time. So
Yeah. That was a really interesting time because that was fun. The materialistic side of it, like this is like fun, we're trying to like the hotel that we stayed at was a lot nicer than the average hotel, which was very much not nice, the average one, by the way, but like this one was good. But it was also a very like intimate setting. Like when we went to Salt Spring and we got to sing and play with like really, really few amount of people. And there was one fine arts alumni that we were able to connect with. What was his name? It was Ben, right? It was my name as well.
Ben McConkey.
Yeah, that guy. That guy was sick.
Yeah.
And
that was on Pender, I believe.
yeah, that was the Pender. Yeah. And what was the line? Get a life, not a mortgage.
Yeah, it was my yearbook.
Amazing. It was your yearbook quote. That's right.
Yeah, get a life, not a mortgage or something. It's just, it's just like that. That was also kind of a reason why I wanted to keep going with music. It's just because he he just seemed like such a down to earth guy and just super chill. And we watched some videos of him playing, and it just seemed like
Mm-hmm.
he was able to kind of freely express himself through music, and it just was really, it's when we met him, he was just the coolest person, and he played and he gave feedback to everyone after they played, and it was the coolest area to play because the venue was just absolutely beautiful. It was right next to a pier on the water of Pender, and it was these huge windows. Like it was literally one, like a quarter of the building was just window, and it just had this huge view on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where the view was of. I know it was the ocean, but I think there was an adjacent island, but
Probably
yeah, it
Salt
was
Spring.
okay. Yeah, it might have been Salt Spring. Yeah, but it was just beautiful. It was not, like the nicest place you could possibly imagine to play music at.
Yeah, scenically amazing. And he was like, what did he study? Pre-law or something? Or maybe it was law. Like he was really well educated when he just decided, like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore, and became a musician. And then, after he got his PhD or whatever in music, he spent his time like working on like, I think it was like indigenous education related thing on those islands to do with music, which is a super kind of unrelated to what he was studying before. I thought it was really interesting and just a testament to that. Um, maybe against conventional wisdom of, oh, there, you can't do anything with music. It's like you can do so much with it being the language that it is.
Yeah, yeah, totally. It's I remember he took us on that walk through that nature walk, and that was just amazing. And he gave us the whole breakdown of the forget what that wall is on the seabed where it's kind of stuck like that with the shells sticking out of it because all the water
Mm.
gets pushed up against it. I forget the name, but he gave us a nice background of that, and really it was just super informative, and he was super respectful to the land and to just to everyone in general, and it was just really cool. It's a great. I remember there being a grocery store on that island, I believe, or at least in the area that we were, but probably on the whole island, I wouldn't be surprised. And there was just this one grocery store. It was awesome. It was like
Man, you really like grocery stores, I think.
they're kind of the all-in-one convenience. You can get anything from smoked salmon to jasmine rice. It's nice, You can.
Smoked salmon and jasmine rice are two fantastic things for sure.
Yeah, they actually don't. Yeah, they go pretty well together, surprisingly. Um, yeah, but it's really nice. It was funny. I was talking to my buddies from they're Dutch, but they're telling me about Holland, and they said all the trees there are replanted and they're all lined up perfectly symmetrical. Like it just kind of put it into perspective that like we still have like kind of untouched areas like deforestation is a huge issue, but just like the fact that we do have some parts of like patches that are just natural, like that's just not existent in some other places. Like it's
Mm.
all cut down and replanted. So
Yeah, yeah, deforestation is definitely a big issue. Um, yeah, it's interesting. I was just reading Bill Gates' book on like how to avoid a climate disaster, and it kind of touches a little bit on that element. Um, Deforestation is obviously one of those problems that has a lot of other ramifications, but like it is also important for carbon capture and stuff because trees obviously contain carbon. It's not the biggest like thing for that particular area, but it is like for other like for the overall impact of it. It's really getting I think a lot worse in a lot of countries.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's really like just being in Canada. It's cool to have. It's really special that there's so many places you can go that are protected, and there's so many people who really care enough to continue to advocate for greater protections even than we already have. So it's kind of cool to see.
yeah, yeah, for sure. It is really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a huge problem. And it's yeah, with the pandemic, it really like I do think there's a lot of good things that come from it. Like it kind of just gives you a chance to kind of sit back and just kind of look at the whole and just everything was going on, and just kind of sit back and because I don't know, I think everything did slow down. Like
Mm.
before, it was just everything was so fast, and you just we're
Yeah.
keeping up, and you're just in the moment all the time. But I found with the pandemic, it kind of gave us a chance to sit back and just kind of ask yourself the big questions that, and just yeah.
Yeah,
But
the pace of life element, I think it's, a lot for a lot of people, it's just go, 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 and we forget to stop and smell the roses, as they say. So that might be a silver lining as well.
yeah, man, and like when we went to Pender, it was just like it felt like that. Like it was just super chill and relaxing, and you're just kind of one with nature because that's all like with the water, and it was really nice and just super peaceful. And yeah, I'd love to go back to the Gulf Islands. Are beautiful places.
Yeah, yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, so let's detour a little bit and talk about travel. You mentioned before when we were talking about this podcast that one of the things that you'd like to talk about is some of the travels you've had and some of the lessons maybe or experiences that you had and things you learned from those. So I'll maybe leave that to you where you want to start within that area.
Yeah, yeah, I've always loved traveling. I've never really traveled on my own before, but I always had I've been lucky enough to have or to go on trips with my grandparents and my parents, and they've always just been amazing. Like I remember, well, the most recent one we did the year before pandemic started. We went to Europe, which was really nice. We went to Amsterdam, London, and Paris. And one thing that yeah, I found London to be really similar to, well, not that similar, but it was almost like an alternate reality because it's not too much different from here, but just it's slightly different, like English accents, and it's just that everything's a little bit closer, I guess, because it's it is a smaller country, and just yeah, it's just like everything's the same, but everything's different. And
Hmm.
Amsterdam, I felt that more because everyone rides bikes there, and there's also lots of
The
trolleys and trams.
Vancouver similarity.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like for every one person that rides a bike in Vancouver, there's like at least like 100 in Amsterdam. It's just crazy how
certainly seems like more for sure.
yeah, yeah, like maybe not technically because well actually it's I think it's one of the densest countries. But yeah, it's just I remember I got off. It's a bit of a it's pretty intense right when I got there because it took a while to figure out where we were going when we got off the train, and then when we finally did get out, I almost got nailed by this tram because there's just a tram right outside the train station, and it's just like going like 30K, and
Like
it doesn't.
immediately when you walked out, you just walked out and then it went by.
Yeah, yeah, it was like
Wait, how is it set up like in urban planning terms?
yeah, I don't know. It seems like a major flaw in the architecture of the whole thing, but it was like it's like you had to it was right outside the door. And so, anyways, I almost got hit by that, and then like it's just ripping through. It just goes like 30K. It's like, well, if you're in the way, you probably shouldn't have been in the way. It's pretty unforgiving, or at least it seemed like. And then right after that, not 5 minutes later, I get hit by a biker. Because we just turn left into the main tourist area, and this guy's going 10K on his bike, and we just have a nice little hey, how's it going? But just kind of forced, I guess. Both on the ground, but it was it was a bit of a wake up call because I was just kind of in my traditionalist, oh we're just gonna go check it out. I'm sure I'll just yeah it'll be cool. It'll be yeah this might be a little different, but nothing I can't get accustomed to. But that was just kind of like whoa, like this is really like it is quite just not a culture shock I'd say, but just it really it took a while just to get into the culture I guess, or yeah it was just but oh man, it was the coolest place. One story that stands out from that is the Heineken experience.
Oh, you did that. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really
Yeah,
famous, like for those people who have heard of it.
so, yeah. I just kind of wanted to try it. Like, it's just always seemed kind of I don't know. Like I heard it might be a little bit cheesy, and that was kind of my expectation going in. Would be like, yeah, it might be cool, but no. So I just kind of, I think my mom gave me like $20 to go do it, and I just ran down the street because it was closing in like half an hour, and it was like half an hour away. So I just like, oh, I couldn't make it, and
Cutting it kind of close.
yeah. So like it was pretty close, but it was still quite a jog. So pull up my Google Maps and start running my orange card. So I finally get down there, and it was still open. It was just like it didn't even look like it was closing. And I got in, and I think I was supposed to wait for the next group to start, but I just kind of tagged along at the end of the last group, and there's just like this tour guide taking you through, and it's cool. Like it's kind of fun doing stuff on your own sometimes, just to kind of it just kind of like just a full on experience, and just kind of it's just different, I guess. Like I wouldn't say it's better or worse. It's just kind of different. It's just kind of interesting to get the different experiences. So it's just kind of cool walking around, and she was showing us all the stuff, and then there's this immersive 4D experience where you just like walked into this room, stood on this circle, and everything started moving around you, and my buddy at Capilano said he was on truffles for the experience. That would couldn't imagine that. But anyways, I was standing here, and it starts just everything starts moving and rushing, and then you walk into this room, and then you sit down on this little bench, and you're facing a group of other people. And there's this screen behind you, and there's a screen behind them, and you're just watching this 4D experience, and it's like you are the beer kind of thing. And, like you're moving through. Um,
I love that.
yeah, I'm probably gonna get sued by them for giving away all their crazy experiences, but I was kidding. But,
Yeah.
it was crazy. And then after that, they give you a free sample, and it's cool. Like you got to see they only used like 3 ingredients or something. It was just super informative, and it was just kind of it was the weirdest thing because I got to the end, like they had games and stuff in there, like a walkthrough, kind of like a walkthrough experience. And there's this game like you could play rugby where you fake kick the ball and you try to get it into hoops and stuff. And there's like yeah, it was neat. And I think the All Black rugby team in New Zealand, the All Blacks, they're or is that what they're called? Yeah, the New Zealand rugby team was sponsored by
I think so.
Heineken. So, yeah, it was really neat. It was and then at the end there was this like nightclub. It was weird. They gave you a wristband with two tokens and give you a free drink downstairs. So I was like, okay, I get down there, and I'm walking around, and it's weird. Like it was like you just went from walking around this kind of like quaint little building with like all these things to being in like this nightclub. It was like, what? So anyways, this girl comes up to me with her friend. She's like, and this was after just like 10 minutes of me walking around, just kind of like hanging out, just didn't have anyone to talk to. I was just kind of taking it all in, like it's just kind of cool being in like a completely different country, completely different city. Like it just kind of like it was just kind of cool being there in the moment. So I was just kind of just chilling. And then this girl comes up to me and she's just like, "Hey, I'll give you a token for a kiss or something, like my token for a kiss." And I was just like,
Okay.
I was just like, just kind of taken aback. And then I was like, okay. And then her friends were like, "Oh no, 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 don't do it. She has a boyfriend and stuff." And I was like, "Okay, like sure, like I won't do it." And then she was like, "No, no, okay, but you can, but she still gave me the token." So I was like, "Fair enough." Like it's
Okay.
it was just kind of it was just kind of funny. That's how it all went down. It was just super, we were all laughing. It was just kind of a good time. So
Fair.
yeah, and then finished
Very
up.
very European experience.
Yeah, she was from Mexico though.
Fair.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really it was a good time.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I never went there. I went to Amsterdam once, but I didn't go into the Heineken thing. But if anyone from Heineken ever watches this and contacts me, I'll definitely vouch for your character and make sure they don't sue you or whatever.
yeah, 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 it was super cool. It just super different. It was like I remember the beds there were like it was like everything was smaller. Like I said about the forests, like they're all replanted and it's all like crafted. It just it's a more accessible, easier, or more compact kind of way of just getting around. Like even with the bikes and stuff, it's just all there's canals. It's just like everything's similar, but it's different kind of thing.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting how this kind of motif seems to keep coming back. That there's even though there's differences in different places that you go, it seems like there's a lot more similarities than you'd ever anticipate, even in the most different places than you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you found that too in your travels so far, from what it
Yeah.
seems. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I find like kindness is a universal language. It's
There you go.
I think it's just kind of most people are good people, and they'll be there to help you if you need, and they're just and that's I found that in every place that I've been to where I've traveled, and I want to get way more experiences going places because I haven't really been to Europe, been to uh, Hawaii when I was like 13. That was really cool.
Mm.
I love Hawaii and Baja. Never been to my dog's scratching the door. Never been to Cabo though, but hopefully after we're all vaccinated. Yeah, we should go see Marat down there.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'm actually, yeah, we should see that. Maybe we'll meet each other down there one day or something. That'd be a lot of fun.
We can have a boat race. No.
A boat race. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Be a lot of fun. All right, so moving maybe back away from the, unless you have any other things that you wanted to say about like the topic of travel, which
No.
you're good. Okay, sweet. Um, so one thing that I've always found interesting about you is your sense of comedy. I gotta say, man, I love the TikToks. It's just such a like, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like an off comedy. Like you just play these characters that are just kind of like off, but really straight, and it's just super funny. You're like you're like the only guy who can do those kind of characters the way that you do them. And I just have to say, before like anything else, that I immensely appreciate that. And anyone who doesn't follow your comedy TikTok stuff, if you just want like a laugh or you don't know why you're laughing, it's a great place to go. Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I just try to make them like I don't know, because I find a lot of stuff funny if it's like kind of awkward and like I think the realistic experiences are what I find kind of funny. Like when it's like so fake and stuff, or like even just like I've never been huge on just, like TV sitcoms. Usually like there's a
Mm.
few really good like Community's really good, and a couple of ones I really enjoy, but I'm a huge Family Guy
There
because
you
like
go.
I also dig like the deadpan kind of stuff, like just kind of the upfront, just like kind of makes sense, kind of doesn't, but it's just kind of there. It's just yeah, just kind of the unexpected. I think is quite funny too. Like just
Mm.
stuff that you think it might be going somewhere, and it's just like whoa, it just takes a tangent. So it's kind of uh, yeah,
Yeah.
just I don't know. It's just particular, and also just like having kind of ideas of people. I guess like
Like character ideas.
yeah, like characters, kind of like Jim. He's a big guy, drives a truck, and he listens to Rock 101, goes ice fishing in the winters, and it's a dually super. Uh, you know, drinks Coors Light and kokanee. Has a big, maybe a pit bull, maybe a terrier. Just like these certain kind of ideas, and it's just kind of fun, like creating these kind of characters, kind of good, going with it, and just kind of biasing all your, or not biasing, but kind of taking all your biases from, how people are, and kind of putting them into a character. It's just kind of fun.
Yeah. Making like this really like ultra Canadian character or something like that, or like
Yeah.
or like what you'd expect like like stereotypical truck driver to be like or something like that.
Yeah, because like I find that you meet these people kind of along your way, and you just kind of it's some people that you just meet, you're like, wow, like that. Like, it's just like a so just like it seems like there's so much substance behind just like that person, and it just seems like you want to get to know kind of what's behind that, and like they're interested in those things. And it's kind of cool that you can kind of expand on that and create these ideas out of those experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what your thoughts are on comedy being like a bridge between, people maybe just and finding another connection point similar to how music can be a connection point. Because obviously, comedy is usually more specific to like, a lot of references relevant to one particular place and time or a particular area. And yet it seems like laughter in general, or just humor in general, is such a great, um, how would you say it? Like, de, um, like it gets rid of all this negative energy that can sometimes, or tension. It's like it detentionifies. I don't know. It's not a word, but like it makes everything kind of lighter, you
Yeah.
know. And I think a lot of times things can get really heavy, especially if all you're doing is like studying, or you're trying to learn all this stuff. And it's just a really good way to kind of let go, and also just to laugh with other people and realize that like, oh, like everything's not as bad. It's like there's some funny stuff. Like I wonder what you think about that, or if that would be fair assessment in your estimation.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting that. Like totally, man. Like I think laughter, like they say, is the best medicine, and I think I think earlier I said the music is the primordial like thing that brings us all together. But I think it might be laughter even more so. Like maybe a bit of both, but it's just the one thing that everyone connects with, and I think that yeah, there's a difference between like tragedy and laughter and comedy. Like it's all kind of that thing. Like it's there's that kind of bridge between it because I don't know. It's almost like when you laugh and like when it just seems like everything's going bad at a point, and you laugh, and it's almost kind of like it's almost funny. It's like how can it get worse? Then like it can always. So it's just kind of it's just kind of like there seems to be a certain kind of weird humor just in weird situations, just in kind of unexpected things, I guess, and it's just yeah, I see it. Like obviously it's not actually funny, but it's just kind of like that reaction that's just like almost comical kind of. It's yeah, it's weird, but I think it's the one thing that you see someone smile, and it's one of the youngest things that we learn to do as people is learn to smile, and it's just a completely natural thing, and it's I don't know why we do it. Like I don't think many other athletes do. I think you know maybe a few, but I think most it's just kind of specific and laughter, and yeah, it's cool how it connects us too. It's weird.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it's a sense of freedom as well when you like some kind of what you were saying, when you just allow yourself, and it's a basic thing from when you're born to laugh. And you're free to not be just a victim of whatever's happening, but now you're like, oh, this is like it is what it is, and all I can do is whatever I can do in this situation and make the best of it from there.
Exactly, yeah, and I think it's hard to do that sometimes. Just like try to like yeah, just do what you can, and just because that's where like a lot of anxiety comes from. It's just like you get worked up over things that aren't necessarily in your control, and yeah, you just got to realize that it's just you just got to do what you can in the moment. Just make the best decision that you think's possible. It's just, and I think yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely, that's so true. All right, let's get back to um, just what you're doing right now with jazz and where you're trying to go forward with that. Obviously, not everyone has all their life planned ahead, and it's not always a bad thing to have a certain degree of uncertainty with where you're going. But where you're at right now, the lessons you've learned, the place that it's got you to is studying jazz at Capilano. Where do you see yourself going forward to this? Like, what kind of things are you interested in pursuing, or where do you think music is directing you, or other elements of your life in terms of what you're going to do next, or is it just all a part of the process to figure that out?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. Like it's hard to answer. Like it's just I really yeah I don't know. I'm not too sure. Like I do want to play and perform somewhere, and I would love to do that for a living. But I would like to I'm just still learning so much, and I know that it's gonna be a little bit, but because there's so much out there that like I'd like to finish up the degree at Capilano, and I think it'd be cool to maybe branch off elsewhere and just kind of get a different idea of music and stuff, and just how I've heard the conservatorium looks cool, and there's a bunch of cool schools
In
overseas.
Amsterdam?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that looks pretty neat. And also, McGill looks pretty cool in Montreal, and there seems like quite a few. I probably wouldn't go to one in the States just because how the price of I don't know, it's really expensive down there.
Yeah.
Just in Berkeley, it's like twice the price of a school up here, so it's yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I would like to just go to different areas of the world and get their experiences too, and just kind of immerse myself in the culture. Like I was saying about learning about the Ghana and the West African music, just totally mind blowing, and just really opened up like so many more doors. I feel, and just put a new perspective on things. So I would really enjoy going to like going down to Brazil and just immersing myself in that kind of music of show beam and all the all the Brazilian music, because it is so different, but there's so many similarities. And
Mm.
I'd love to go down to just just a bunch of different places, like going to India, learning the Carnatic rhythms from the source, kind of thing. And yeah, just because everywhere has a different perception of it, but none is better than the other, and they're all just like amazing in their own right. And I can only see it like if you put all those things together into kind of a pot, then I think you could make some really good stew.
Wow, some niche reference, but absolutely, like, yeah, no, I think that's a really cool way to look at it. I think that there's a lot of beauty in the difference, the different kinds of music around the world, and the different kinds of ways of looking at things, right? Even from societal perspectives, and that is kind of reflected in the music sometimes, and
Yeah, for
sometimes,
sure.
yeah,
Completely agree.
it's really interesting. All right. Okay. One thing before I get to my final question.
Yeah.
I know I'm kind of just throwing this on you at the last minute, but I want to hear the funniest story of something that happened to you in your life, because I feel like you probably got some good ones.
The
If
funniest.
you need if you need a minute to think about it, that's totally fine. We can cut it or whatever. But um, I just want to hear, like, or it doesn't have to be like the funniest, but like just a really funny story that you can think of of something that happened. It can be recent or it can be happened a long time ago.
Well, I know it's not really yeah. So I started like I think mountain climbing is really interesting. I don't know if I'd want to do it that much or get too into it, but I think it's just it's cool. Like especially living where we live, and we see these beautiful skylines of Baker and whatnot. It's
Mm.
almost inspiring. Just on a nice clear day, it's awesome. So um, yeah, but so one time, this has nothing to do with mountain climbing, but it does have something to do with hiking. So
Okay.
me and my buddy, we were walking up. I think it was about 4 p.m. and that's when we started to do. I think it was golden years or something. Like, um, yeah, for those of you that don't hike, probably shouldn't start like an 8 hour trip at 4 p.m. Just not not the greatest idea. Like yeah, like you don't really have you just have a backpack with a bottle of water, and if you get lost, you get lost, and you better find a nice tree by a pond for a while, but by a stream. Anyways, yeah, it was just kind of bizarre because I started this hike with my buddy at 4 p.m. and we just because I think we slept over the previous day or something. And it was just like we woke up around like 11:30, slept in. It's like, oh yeah, let's do the hike, and we get ready, shower, all that stuff, and then it's like, oh well, by the time we actually get there, it's 4 o'clock. You spent the whole day preparing for this thing, so you're not going to not do it. But yeah, so it's like before we got to the top. Well, no, it was about the time we got to the top. It started getting like dark, and there were horseflies following us. There's horseflies everywhere, and the thing about horseflies is that they don't leave you, and there's the most annoying sound. So we were walking through tons of bugs, just like forests. It was a forest basically, but it was like just bugs too, just so many bugs. It's like it's crazy. Like in the summertime, on top of a mountain, in like Maple Ridge, you're just gonna get eaten by mosquitoes. So, um, and flies. Oh, yeah, I think that was the main thing. Flies were just buzzing into our ear. So by the time we get to the top, climb up this rock face, it's pretty much dark. We start walking back down. Then we get lost pretty quick because so like it was like it's a long hike and it's just pitch black. Phone's gonna die. Just walking down this trail. Don't even know if it's the right trail. It's and like the problem when things get dark, it's hard to you lose your sense of direction super quickly. Like you could be going one way, you're like, okay, am I going east right now? It's this. Should I? Yeah, it's this way, right? Well, there's another trail. Is that a trail? Or is it just like a clearing? Like it's just. Then all of a sudden you go one way and it's like, oh, wait, yeah, it was that way, right? Oh, wait, no, it was that. It's just a mishmash of different stuff, so it's super confusing. But I think it was like 12:30. We finally got down. It's maybe even like 1 or something. It was super late and hard. Like you just got to keep. I guess we just kept walking down.
Yeah,
So
because you're like, I'm not getting stuck up here. I'm not dying or whatever.
yeah, yeah, it didn't really feel like. Yeah, so eventually got down. So yeah, it was just kind of bizarre. Like looking back on it now, I'm just like, that should have been a common sense thing. Like you should start a hike at 4 p.m. But I guess just being like like I don't know, 17, 18, just like, hey, listen, you might as well do it. You're pretty confident. And then oh, one more thing that I'll add is just a quick little story. It was first month of working at the keg. I started a dishwashing clothes and I got on at 8 p.m. It's gonna be a late one, but it went till or actually there's this kid that was spraying and it was super busy. It was like just gnarly Saturday. We're just getting obliterated and we're all new. There's like 3 new dishwashers that were closing, and like we all just got hired less than a month ago. And he's spraying these dishes and they're just coming in like no tomorrow, just like boom, boom, boom. And he's got the spray, and you can tell he was getting kind of rattled. So it's just like, hey man, like you all right? And like you doing all right? And he just kind of turns to me and just like flips. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I've been doing this for an hour and you're asking me if I'm all right. I'm just like, oh okay. And he just like starts just completely flipping out on me. And I'm just like, all right, like this guy's obviously in a pretty bad place, I guess. So I just kind of walked away and just kind of like screw this guy. And yeah, so that happened, and then we were all just. That's kind of how the rest of the night went, I guess. And it was just we had to SOS pad with these. They're like these pink pads that you wipe down on steel surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why our manager just told us to do the entire like kitchen basically. So here we were just like completely not horrible at our jobs because we just got hired. It's like the first shift out of training. We're all just messing around, and the other 2 guys were buddies, so they were always talking to each other, and I was just kind of standing there like, oh my gosh. And so finally we get out at 4:30 in the morning. So the sun was already up and stuff.
That sounds absolutely horrible.
Little did I know, my mom was waiting in the parking lot because I was like supposed to be off around 12, so she got there around 12. She was there for like 4 hours.
Oh.
She was just so mad, and I didn't text her at all. And so I feel bad because I just had like an 8-hour shift till 4:30, and then I also had to feel bad because she was waiting there for 4 hours, and I'm not sure whose fault that was entirely. It was a bit of negligence on both.
I feel like that's your fault for not telling her that you're gonna be 4 hours later than you were supposed to be.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one.
I would not be alive if I had pulled something like that. I wouldn't be here right now talking to you.
True, but like I didn't know, like I was still new, and like our off time wasn't set in stone, right? It's just kind of like, oh well, like you're finished when it's clean, kind of thing. So I didn't, I was gonna text her when I was off, and I was never off. I was never off, and then all of a sudden it just kind of that was the time, and I was just like, dang. So
And how
yeah,
long did you do that? How long did you do dishwashing for again?
I think it was 13 months, so not too long, still pretty long.
That
It's pretty,
seems like a long time.
yeah, it's really hot back there, and you just get wet and food on you, and it's just no. And the worst part's your shoes because you step in food on the floor
Oh,
and it gets in the little creases on the bottom of your shoes. And then even if you spray it off, it does not smell good. Yeah,
wow. That sounds both traumatizing and hilarious. So,
yeah. That's like that thing about comedy we were talking about.
yeah. It's like it has to hurt, but then from the hurt, you can find some joy or something
Yeah,
cliche like that.
yeah. That's how you really relate to it, and it just hits you kind of. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Dude,
awesome.
why haven't we gone hiking sometime?
I don't know, man. We have to. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
do
we
it.
totally should. We've never been. And like you mentioned too that you're into like rock climbing and stuff. Like
Yeah,
if you're interested in coming, like hit me up for sure. We'll go sometime.
yeah. Let's
Yeah.
do it. I'm still down. I have this great book. It's called I always forget Scrambles. It's called Scrambles. I got it
Okay.
from Mountain Equipment Company down on 64th, and
Oh yeah.
might be Langley Bypass or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. It's a great book. It has all these like little niche hikes within the Greater Vancouver area, and
Hmm.
yeah, there's this there. Yeah, I'm not gonna reveal this one hike, but apparently it's supposed to be like kind of a secret hike that not too many people know about, but it's supposed to be like the most scenic one. So it's like this.
But it's in the book called Scrambles.
Yeah. So you got to get the book to figure out what the hike is.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's no other way. It's definitely not online anywhere.
Nope. It's I mean, it's written by a local Vancouver guy, so
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, those kind of books, like for anyone who hasn't been like, on any kind of more in-depth hikes than the basic level ones, those types of books are really good resources for, I mean, in Vancouver, or if you go up to Squamish, obviously they have a lot of stuff up there too. But there is a lot of information on like trail guides and stuff online that you can find as well, where people will write reviews that are really helpful. And if you're not experienced, highly worth reading so that you don't repeat Christian's mistake of almost like dying because you get lost. Like just prepare and don't, because it's a lot of fun, but it can get dangerous, especially if you do like really challenging hikes and don't.
Totally. Yeah, the book's a great resource. It tells you what kind of car you need, even like two-wheel drive, four-wheel
Mm,
drive, how to get there, and it's cool. And yeah, I'd recommend it. And dude, yeah, we should definitely try it out and go on a hike soon.
yeah, we should. All right, bro. Um, okay, my last question.
Yeah.
I've been I've been trying to ask one kind of follow up question after all these podcasts to everyone, and so the question that I'm kind of trying to make the theme question is, based off your experiences so far in life, if you could spread one message and the lesson that you learned from that message, um, that would get through all the noise and reach people where it really hits them, what would that message be, or what would that story that got you that message be? It can be large or it can be more specific, but just whatever
Hmm.
you find is useful from your life, does or just in general.
Yeah. I'd say like work at your own pace. Enjoy the challenges and embrace the setbacks because I think often if you're doing something you like or just doing something and something's happening, just the more adversity you go through will eventually make you stronger when you get back up. And it's you need those challenges and you need to sometimes just go through the pitfalls of things, and you just got to realize the bigger picture of it, that if you just keep a good attitude and you just work hard at things and what you want to do, like then eventually that adversity that you go through you'll come out a better person on the other side of it. And it's essential to learning something is to fail.
Mm.
And it's just like you just like because I found it like it's like oh you I, like sometimes I won't want to do things sometimes or I used to get super down when something just went bad. And I was just like why is this happening kind of thing. And then like you get over it eventually. And then you realize, oh, maybe like that wasn't all bad. Like it's like stuff that stuff isn't always as it seems, right? Like it seems like something will happen, and you might see like, oh, well,
Mm.
that kind of didn't work out in the end, or you might make a decision one day, and then after it's like, maybe that wasn't the best thing I could have done. I probably could have done something a little different there, but it's just yeah, you just have to learn to accept things for what they are, and I think work at your own pace. Like we live in such a fast-paced society where people are constantly comparing themselves to other people, and you just have to realize that everyone's different and unique. And I think everyone is like brilliant in their own way, and you just have to find what you enjoy and what attracts you, and like just do what gravitates to you. I guess it's work at just kind of and also just have fun doing it like that. Like that's the biggest thing that live in such a fast technologically based society. It's sometimes easy to forget just to try to enjoy, and just have fun with with everything.
Mm. Like the moments in between.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. I
Thanks.
really love that. That's a great message. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for hopping on the pod.
Thanks so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, it was a lot of fun having this chat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's we gotta do this again sometime.
I'd love to, man. Or yeah, like even do we could do like a 3 or 4 way call with like Murad or something, or
For sure. Yeah, one day I'll definitely try to make it. I know the Zoom has like a 40-minute limit, but
oh really? Okay,
we'll
interesting.
maybe there's another way around that. Who
Yeah, yeah,
knows?
but I'd love. Yeah, that's yeah. I listened to a bit of the one with Murad, and it was really good. Like it's just I love the. It's clean. It's just awesome, man. Like it sounds like it's going really well.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's just starting, but my goal is to just try to, I mean, twofold is kind of to just have conversations with a bunch of different people and learn as much as I can for my own kind of selfish purposes. And I figure like might as well document it while I'm doing it. And the second thing is to just kind of
That's awesome.
try to spread um, the theme of like, how storytelling kind of connects everyone and how humans are more similar than we are different. And like you said, laughter is the biggest thing, if not music, I think that connects us. So
Yeah,
big themes, but I love doing this, and I've had a lot of fun talking with you today. It was a great conversation, and we'll
yeah, same
definitely
here.
have to do it again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sounds great, dude.
All right, man.
Yeah, thanks again
Take
for
care.
having me. I look forward to the next one.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 3 of At the Base of the Baobab Tree. I hope that you enjoyed it and got some value out of it. Episode 4 with my friend Arnold will be coming soon, and you can find it wherever you get your podcasts. Have a good one.